So, hi again, we're on our next stage, back in the studio, which is really, really nice to be back here. Nice for you to see it again. So things are starting to get back to normal, which is like really good. London's getting a bit busier. It's good. Okay, so let's get on with our pieces. We have now the back piece, which has got the little groove in there, and our front piece. Now you think that we're going to then join them together and then put the back on it and then put the trimmings on it, but just to let you know and make sure you realise that you can't put your trimmings on, you can't sew them together yet unless you put your trimmings on, because if we go and sew those two bits together and then put it up and then think, well then we want to put something on there, we won't be able to sew it through. So we want to actually sew it on first. So we've just got that there for later. Then we've got this one, which is going to be our half one, so I'm going to put a lovely lining inside of that one, and we've got some sort of feathers here just to show you, some fabric, a lovely sort of feather mount, which you can make these. If you go into the sisal bundle, it's the one where I actually shows you how to make a parasisal, so not the Judy Bentic one but the other one with me. When you've got the crown and brim, I show you how to make one of these in that, so you can do that. And these are lovely because they just sort of open out. I've got little black bits on this one, little bobbles, so that's really nice. So that sort of thing we could sew on here. I'll just sit down so you can see my head a bit better. So we need to think about it. So if we think, well, that's going to go up there, then this one could then go on the top, which could be really nice. And that gives us a nice height, bit of excess. It could actually come round a little bit more. And we just have to think about hiding this stalk at the end of the day, what we're going to do with that. So if I open that out, we could trim that off a bit, or you could have it coming down the side of the hat, and then you'll have to put something else on just to cover all that up. If you were going to tuck that inside and then put the back on it, it would be quite thick, because of this stalk is quite thick, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. You can just trim it quite short, sew it on, and then put something else here. So that's quite dramatic. Then also I've got this lovely little trimming here. This is from Be Unique, this one. This is just a sort of futuristic-y plastic one, so that could then be something that goes onto the side. Or if you don't want all this fluff, you can take that away and you could just put something really simple on the side there, because this is black, so you know anything sort of black or silver would go, or any other bright colours if you want to go crazy and go a bit bright. This one's lovely because it's got the lurex in it, so we don't need to cover this hat. We could, you could put some netting on it and things, but you don't need to sort of cover it in any other fabric because it's just a really nice cinnamon. So that's really lovely to have a little bit. You could have it at the top there, or we could put it down on the side. Just think about your client and where their parting is, because normally I always put all my hats on my left side, so I'll have everything going on here, because I know that I've got less hair on this side and I've got more hair on this side, so I'll always put it on this side. But if your client has a parting on the other side, then you'll be making hats for them to go on that side. But this one, because this is in the center of the head, you might want to find out from the client which side they want to show and what they don't. Say you're going to put it here and then their parting is this side, you're going to accentuate this side, so maybe they want to accentuate more this side, or maybe they're going to style it up and they're going to bring that round, they're going to put a nice big bun here, which means then you want more of what's going on this side, so that it goes from, your eye draws from the bun up the hat and then carries on up. So then you could have a quill or other high things going up, or you could just have everything really center and have things going up high there. So just have a think about what sort of style of hair they've got, what side of the head they want to accentuate more. You could ask them what they're doing with their hair, where they're putting their bun, if anything, or if they're going to put something up at the back of their head, then that's fine because that's all really central, and then you can just have the headpiece here and the bun on the back of the head. So that's all things you can think about and ask. Now I've also got these lovely little bits, I like in the futuristic bundle, I was sort of showing you how to make little plastic bits, and I've covered these in silver, so this could be something else as well. We can get loads of these and start spraying them and putting them on and laying them over. Can you see that detail on there? And sort of laying that over and having that as a bit of detail, or I could spray some netting and spray it silver and have that going over, or just keep it gold, keep it black. I could have loads of this, like a big sculptured crazy piece just going on up, so I think that would be really nice to do. I think I'll actually make some of that and put that on as well, because I think that'd be really nice. So that sort of futuristic-y, excuse me, futuristic-y, or we've got the plastic there, or you could go with more, change the colour up and have it a bit more girly. That doesn't quite go, does it, with the pink, but you could go with something crazy. I mean, this colour, this sort of black and fuchsia pink would be good, and silver, that's going straight up. You could go crazy and put some cherries on, but that's a bit dark, so that's going to disappear. But it would work with this one. So say if we have this one here, then we could have a lovely flower just going underneath, and that flower could just sit there, or it could go right at the top, but that is hiding the point, but it just brings it up. And then if we have lots of grass hairs coming out, maybe a quill coming out, that could be really good as well. So if you want to be a bit more normal, I would put it on the side and don't have it too big. You could have two actually. You could have one on one, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? One this side and then one this side, that'd be quite crazy. But that's quite pretty, maybe with a bit of netting. And on this one, I want to drip some PVA again, like I did in the other bundle, the futuristic bundle, and spray it a little bit gold to give it some texture. And then I can start adding this, and I could also add some white feathers to that as well. So this one, this has got black in it. I mean, I wouldn't have so much of this on it, because you could do, but you've got a nice detail with this point, and you don't want things which are going to cover it up. So I think that one's a little bit big, but I could use some just tall architectural white feathers similar to that, but much taller, to go on here and thinner with that flower. Another one I've got is this pretty one here, but this again is going to disappear, these colours, so that wouldn't quite work. This one is a little bit big, it hides the whole thing. Maybe I could put cherries on this one. Maybe I could have a cute little vintage, oh, isn't that pretty? Cute little vintage flower detail piece, maybe a bit further down. Just going on somewhere. If you want it really nice and girly-ish. The other thing is feathers. So maybe if we've got that on, then we could have a really wiggly feather just going up and out. Now that's actually, the point is going that way and my feather's going that way. So if we were going to do that, then we turn it around and we make sure that that feather was going with the curls, with the curve of the top bit, and then we could have a flower at the front. So that's nice and high. You could bring it down. And that's quite nice to put that on. Again, it's hiding the point a little bit, so I'd bring that further down. You could have something like that, or you could just have it going on out. Then we could add another one. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it, to add all these things? I wouldn't say this green is the right colour for it, but it is a lovely little detail, this green. So actually, let's put them together. Well, I've got fluff up my nose. They're slightly competing, but you get the idea. Now to shape these, because this one is a bit curved and this one is a little bit curved, all I've done is got the scissors and just manoeuvred it slightly into a bit of a curl, as if when you're curling ribbon at Christmas, you do that, you go right through and you do quite a lot of it. This is just gently making it curve that way, and then this top one I'm gently just pushing the scissors closed, pushing it into the quill, and then that goes that way. So a bit more there, and then open it up again a bit. And just smooth the feathers out again with your fingers if they go a little bit squished. And then you get that slight curve going on with it, so that's really nice. So maybe that should go just in the centre and be really crazy and go up, and then you could have a couple of other ones. Why not? So that's just a few ideas. The other thing, because this is just cinema, you could put some netting on it to make it nice, more detail. I'm going to put the drips on it, and then I'm going to spray it a bit gold. Some sections will be gold and some won't be. And then I could, if I wanted to, I could actually put some stretchy fabric over it. So that would make it really lovely. So you want stretchy fabric because, you know, then it's going to go over it easily. You could cover the whole thing or half of it. And then get rid of that bit, and then that's pretty good. A sort of nice, really nice shiny piece to go as well. So with that, all I do is I've stretched it over just to measure it. I cut it so I've got an inch extra over the edge, so I could just sort of go around that, trimming around it. I've got my inch extra. Then I'll push that up inside, just maneuver it all so it's fitting, pin it in place, and then stitch it down inside. So then I'll just be doing sort of a big jump in the inside and a little stitch on the outside. So I can jump along on the inside and just come through and do a little stitch on the outside, so that you can't really see it. You don't really want to see the stitch at all. So I'm going to try and hide it in between those sequins. So a big jump on the underside and then a little stitch on the top side. And that would be really nice. And then that could then go with this flower. Oh, how beautiful. Beautiful would that be? Actually, might stick with that, might not put any sort of drips on it. We could do the drip thing with where we do this with this one, and we can do this one with flower and fabric. Lovely. Okay, now to finish this one off, I would put a little back in it because we want it to sit on the head, and you're going to have a bit of a metal headband going inside here. You need something, because I'm going to put a lining in that one. It's not got a back to it, so you need to put something in. So either you could get a whole flat section, so you just put some cinema down on a flat surface and iron all that together with a wet cloth. Same as blocking, but you're just blocking it flat. So you're just using 3 layers, wet cloth, iron it all down so 3 layers stick together. Then cut this shape out. Then you'd have to fold under your edges, and then you can sew that on. But if you want, and it would just be a nice flat piece. But if you want to see the lining inside, nice pretty lining, then you can just get a little version. So this is a little baby button block that I've got. And then this we can block, and you can just sit in there. So then you can still see the lining that's going to be in here. So we've got those little versions of the ones that you can already buy, which is very similar. And that can just slot in there, so you can see that a bit better with the colour. So that could just slot in there, and I could sew that down. And then when I've got my metal sort of headband to go on it, that can actually be sewn onto that, and then that can fit in there. So I could put my lining in, then I could sew my headband onto this, and then when that's all done and I've got all my trimmings on and I've got my lining in and I'm happy with that, then I can just sort of slot that in afterwards. Okay, so if you want to get one of these little ones, a baby one, and block it, or just find anything you've got around your house which are this sort of size, something that will just fit in there, which the metal band can then go on. So the next stage is just to tack this down. We'll do that in a minute. And then after that, we want to start putting all the trimmings on, and then I'm going to show you how to do the headband, and then we're going to put it all together because we've also got to sew those 2 bits together. Okay, so next we'll just tack this down to make sure all these bits are sewn in, you know what you're doing there, and then we'll move on and start adding all the trimmings. Fun. Okay.